Hey guys, it's Jessica and welcome to my review of this Flower Beauty set that came out during Christmas. It actually goes this way. I am going to be giving this away to you guys January 21st along with some other really great things. So stay tuned for that on my channel. Sorry, subscribe if you don't want to miss that. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and review that whole entire set right now just so you guys can see the colors and everything. I am going to be swatching all of the colors, wet and dry. There is 8 colors total, which is pretty good. It's pretty exciting. So this set retailed, this whole set with the mascara and the brush and the palette and the mascara retails for $20. I did go ahead and purchase these after Christmas, so I got them for $5. I got them 75% off, so yeah. Here is the dry swatches of these, and now I'm going to swatch them wet. And basically, to swatch them wet, I just use some Visine. I'm just holding this up so you can see it. I feel like I don't always hold things up for too long. It's like one of my flaws. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and swatch them wet. I am going to be using a brush for this. Okay, so here are the shades wet. Hopefully you can see them. You can see the difference. There's a huge difference with this palette when the shades are wet. That being said, I would like to tell you guys how great these shadows are, because once they kind of dry, they don't really transfer too much once you get the powder up. So like, I barely touched that brown and only a little bit transferred onto my hand. So they basically don't budge once you get them on, and I think that that is really, really awesome. But also the pigmentation is just great. Now, I have to say I wouldn't use the yellow one wet just because it's incredibly powdery, so it's kind of hard to get the same consistency as the other ones are wet. And I also want to say I would not recommend getting the whole entire shadow wet. So if you can see what I did, I just did the bottom part of every shadow is wet. So that way you have a dry patch and a wet patch. So you got like dry shadow, wet shadow, dry shadow, wet shadow, dry shadow, wet shadow. That way if it does like make the kind of crusty overlay that sometimes shadows get when they're wet, then it won't ruin your whole entire eyeshadow. You won't have to scrape your whole entire eyeshadow to get the pigment. But honestly, I would highly recommend using these wet. I think that they could really make a totally different look wet than they do dry, especially with this rose kind of rosy gold color. Like that one is just bam, bam wet. Like that one is really amazing, and that one really doesn't transfer once it's set and dry. So anyway, I really, really, really like this Flower Beauty palette. I give it like 20 stars up. I don't know, I just really like it. And it's really nice. I don't know if these are sold individually, but my price, how much would I pay for this? For 8 eyeshadows, I would probably pay $15 for this palette, which sounds like a lot of money, but I totally would pay that much for this palette. I think it's totally great quality, amazing quality. These shadows do last on your lid for most of the day. You know, it's pretty good for a drugstore palette. So I am just overall super impressed with this palette, and I would recommend it to everybody. It's just a really, really great palette, and I love it. I don't even know. I don't have really much more words to say about it. So yeah. And the mascara, which hopefully you guys can see a little bit at least. I am wearing it right now. And I gotta say, The mascara is also super impressive. This is Extreme Measures Lengthening Mascara. It does smudge though, which I don't know if it's smudged yet. It hasn't smudged yet. I just did my makeup. But it does smudge, so I always top it with a waterproof mascara, which seems to work really well. So I would definitely recommend this mascara, and in all 100% honesty, I would pay like $12 for this mascara. I love it. I love it probably just as much as the Colossal mascara, just as much as the Skyrise mascara. I love this mascara so much, so you should check it out. And it is a definitely interesting brush. It kind of has like the ball thing going on at the end and at the front, but that just helps grab your teeny tiny little lashes. I don't know. It's just a really awesome mascara, and I highly recommend it. I don't know, I just love it that much. And lastly, we got the brush, which I seriously love this brush. It's amazing. You know, it's kind of hard to do detailed work, which is why you see me go in with an eyeshadow brush or a concealer brush to get like the lid of my eye and everything. But I have pretty small lids. I'm not someone with a lot of lid space. So if you have a lot of lid space, then this will just do the job for you completely. If you don't have a lot of lid space, then you're going to need some smaller brushes. But I do really love this brush. It is so soft. It doesn't shed at all. Not even like a teeny tiny hair has shredded from this brush. I am so impressed with this brush. I would probably pay $5 for this brush, maybe even 10. So overall, if you were to add up how much I would pay for it, it would be over $30, because I would pay $12 for the mascara, I'd pay $15 for the palette itself, which would be $27, and I would pay $5 for the brush. So that's like $32. And it says it's a $34.92 value, so I guess something in this group is priced a little more, probably the eyeshadow brush if I had to guess. So I'm pretty close to the original price that it's valued at, but it was selling for $20 and I got it for $5. Basically a steal. Anyway, I don't know if you can still find this palette. If you can, then that would be really cool. I know that there are some Walmarts that don't get frequented as much as other Walmarts. So it's possible you might be able to find this. I found so many of these sets after Christmas. I don't know how they could sell them all when they weren't selling at the very low price that I saw them at. But you probably can't get this set anymore, but I think they probably sell individual eyeshadows, which I would say go for them. Alright, so here's a final look at the shades. We got dry on bottom and wet on top. So you can use this palette wet and dry. In fact, I would recommend using it wet and dry. I would definitely recommend that combination. The more matte shades I wouldn't recommend using wet, but you could if you want to. But the more shimmery shades, yes, especially this rosy shade and this purple shade, just go for it. So yeah, that is all I have to say. I'm sorry if this was kind of a long review, but seriously, I love all of these products, and I am so glad that I bought two so that I could test one for you and give you guys one. So yeah. Look out for my giveaway. It'll be January 21st, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.